Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Sorry about that, a little bit of technical difficulties, but today what we're talking about and we'll be talking with is with Ivan on tech. And we actually had him on the show not too long ago, sometime around December, gosh, when was that? Almost December 27th, 2025. And when we talked about back then, we were just talking about what's going on in the crypto space and the things that were happening. And one of the things he talked about was why he sold a bunch of his Bitcoin around the first or second or third week of October. And we talked about these different indicators that were coming in. When I said after we left, I said, hey, I want you to come back on the show and just to talk about what you're doing, because I think it's important to get different perspectives, especially as we move forward. Now, everybody knows that on this channel, I talk about taking profits, but I did not do as good of a job as I should have done with taking profits, and it bothers me. And it bothers me enough to reach out to people like Ivan on tech. We reach out to CTO Larson, the ones that actually did a pretty good job, just to see what I missed and what we all missed. So without further ado, I'm just going to let Ivan explain it. And this is me and him recorded earlier today. Then we'll come back and we'll do a little Q&A. So let's jump into this. So what I want to do is bring back to the show Ivan from Ivan on Tech, just to talk about a couple of things. Ivan, welcome. This is the second time. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, fantastic to be here, Rob. And also big shout to everyone here, guys. I mean, I had so many people come from your audience to me and say that they really enjoyed our last interview a month ago. So fantastic to be back, and thanks for having me back.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. We did the 12 days of Christmas. We gave away like a massive discount. So I want to say thanks again for participating in that. I reached out to a lot of people and I didn't get a lot of responses. So I would say thank you, Ivan, for helping us out.
Of course.
If you're a little bit like, who's this guy? If you don't know Ivan, there's a link in the description. You can check out his YouTube channel. Coming up on, gosh, where are we at here? 534, wow, 500,000, Ivan, not too shabby. Then also you can find him on X. Again, same thing, almost 500,000 followers. And I want you to focus on this pinned tweet. Good evening, crypto. This is from October 9th, 2025. I don't know if you guys remember that time, but it was when everything was going fantastic and we could only go to the moon. It was the best of times, but it became the worst of times as time went on. He stated, as I said in the stream yesterday, 8th of October, and today, I am not a fan of the Bitcoin fake out. Money line on daily turned bearish. After the fake out, bear risk has increased. Most people are complacent. Retweet if you understand. I didn't understand. And I just want to remind everybody, October 9, 2025, the price of Bitcoin at that point was $121,698. And we just kept sliding down. And when I had you on, Ivan, we talked about this. And the reason why I had you on, because there are very few people that called this. And it haunts me to this day that I didn't take as much profits as I should have. Now, I took some profits along the way, but I missed something. And all the indicators that we took a look at and all the things that were out there didn't help us. So, Ivan, break that down for us.
Yeah, so first and foremost, let's look back 1 month ago, where we were at the end of December. Actually, our interview was a bit over a month ago. You can share my screen, Rob, so we can see it. At that time, we basically said that Bitcoin is in a bear trend. At that point, it was still a bit controversial. I got some people telling me, Ivan, you don't understand the fundamentals, this and that. But we really made it clear that Bitcoin is in a bear trend. When Bitcoin is in a bear trend, you have to be careful. And we said it based on the 50-week moving average, number one, that we were below it. And number two, also that my indicator money line was in a bear trend. But just looking at simple moving average, you could also conclude that. And since then, if we look at where we are now, I will share screen here. Basically, we continue to fall. When we did the interview last month, the price was, as you can see here, 87. We continued to go down in the bear trend. Now we are at 67. And all in all, the trend is still bearish. But the good thing is, if you look at the moving averages, if I am to put them back here, we're getting quite close into what I call the buy zone. And the buy zone basically is whenever the price is very close to the 200-week moving average or below the 200-week moving average. So here, we actually touched the buy zone for a day or so back in at the start of the month on February 2nd. And this means that long-term, buying somewhere here within the buy zone is going to be a good deal. It's going to be, you're going to look back, you're going to be super happy. Why? Because we are now quite close to 200-week moving average. And if you run simulations looking at your returns, if you would to buy around 200-week moving average, is fantastic. Let me show you here. I have it in front of me.
And Ivan, as you pointed out, I just want to remind everybody, I never believed in moving averages, TA, that type of stuff. And then there was something you said on our interview the last time, which was, look, everybody's looking at the 200-week moving average. It's not just me. It's a lot of people. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If they believe that everything below is cheap and everything above is expensive, then that becomes the thing. It's the same thing with 4-year cycles. And I thought to myself, I go, damn, that is true. So anyhow, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Yeah, so now we're getting quite close to a 200-week moving average. And just to be sure in the math, I did this simulation, basically simulating if you bought whenever the price comes within 5% of the 200-week moving average, what would be your returns? And as you can see, on average, after a month, you get 8%. After 6 months, you get 53%. After 1 year, you get 200%. Of course, this is average. Sometimes you have a bad cycle, like here in 2022, you would actually be at a loss after 6 months. But after a year, you would still be in a profit. So if you take the average of all of the cycles and all the times when Bitcoin was at around 200-week moving average, and you bought within 5% of the 200-week moving average, you would be in fantastic profit. So this is how this buy zone is constructed right here. But just because we enter the buy zone doesn't mean that you go all in. In fact, on my channel, we are deploying very slowly. And we just allocate 25% of the capital that is intended for Bitcoin to buy within the buy zone before the bull flip. Because remember, we're still in a bear trend. You can see here it's red. We're in the bear trend. So until the money line flips bullish, we are just deploying 25%, and we're doing it slowly because we're expecting more downside. The buy zone starts here at around 60. It goes down all the way to 30. I think it's very unlikely that we're going to get to these lows right here. Today on my channel, I just drew this chart as an example of what I would expect, where we become boring. The next step for Bitcoin is likely that we become quite boring sideways, then break down a few times and find the bottom. And somewhere here within the 40K level would make sense to me. Why? Because this is how all of the previous midterm years have played out. We actually have it here as well in our charts. If we do performance by year, and then we look at the midterm years, the green chart is the current year, is the 2026. And then the other charts here, it's only the midterm year. So it's 2022, it is 2018, 2014, when there is midterm elections in the US. And when you look at the average of all of them, we are basically at the average. We're basically at the average. Let me see if I can show you here so the average works. Not really, but yeah, the average is basically where we are now. Do you see the green chart is between everything else? And if you look at how this year normally plays out, we ended at approximately minus 60%. 2014 was minus 58, as you can see here. 2022 was minus 64. And 2018 was minus 72. So if we just assume that something like that happens, then a chart like this would make perfect sense, because it means that then since, let's say, January here, if we measure to this bottom somewhere, it's like 54%. So something like that would not surprise me, but there is a clear difference now that I really want everyone to understand, and that's that it is time to switch to bullish. Now is the time to start seeing the upside, because yes, we can still go down further, can still go to 40, would be perfect in line with the previous cycles. We're still in the bear trend, so expect more downside. But for Bitcoin in particular, it is time to warm up the brain for good times, because what you don't want to do is to be bearish when the trend flips, and and then it takes 6 months for you to react, and then you feel behind again. You don't want to do that. Instead, already now, I would say start exercising bullishness for Bitcoin, not for your shitcoins. Many shitcoins will not come back. We have to be blunt. Many of them are actually now in price discovery to the lows, like bottom lows. And in our community, if you share my screen again, Rob, in our community, every day what's happening, people are shorting. So we educate our traders on how to short properly and how to long, but it's just that now everyone is shorting. When I see the wins they post in our community, there's a channel for posting your wins. Everyone is short. I haven't seen a long win in a long time. So this means that altcoins, don't be too bullish yet. Okay, don't be too bullish yet. For altcoins, I would not give them any benefit of the doubt and be bullish before the bull trend. The only exception is maybe Solana. If Solana goes to $30, which it is kind of, I mean, that's kind of the target that we have, $30. Does not mean that it has to go there. But if we look here on the chart, $30 for Solana is the next big support. So here is one example where I would be tempted to buy even within a bear trend because it's so cheap here at 30. I'm using Solana every day. I love Solana, but the chart is the chart. We cannot conflate the fundamentals and the chart. If the chart is bear, people are dumping. Even if it's the best asset, the best fundamentals, is a big difference if you buy here or you buy here. Although the fundamentals and everything is the same. So for trading purposes, we mainly use the chart and the trend, and fundamentals. It's more of a conviction. It helps with the conviction when the prices are ridiculously cheap, which they will be at 30. So Solana is maybe the only exception I would make and buy it at 30 within a bear trend. Everything else, I'm not touching them within a bear trend. Whether it is, Avalanche kind of going to all-time low. I mean, everything else, it's in a bear trend, and I'm not touching them before they go into bull trend. With the exception for Solana, if it goes to 30, it's going to be such a crazy discount that, it will be very hard to resist. But yeah, that's overall where we're at. For Bitcoin, guys, become more excited. It's fantastic, but still expect the downside. But be prepared. For altcoins, it is what it is. Most of them will not come back because, again, there is infinite amount of altcoins. Many people have very bad quality altcoins. So by mathematical definition, each new cycle cannot pump all of the altcoins from all cycles. But mathematically, it doesn't work. We have infinite amount of altcoins. So if you select ones, will come back, and we're going to snap them up when we're going to pick them up once they are in bull trend. So if I'm to summarize it in 5 minutes, I would say that this is the state of the market. And by the way, Rob, do you want to move me to the left here? So I look at you because my screen is exactly right.
Sounds good. So everybody, as you listen to Ivan talk, I want you to put in the comment section, how many people have you heard that talk that sound like Ivan? Where they're like, hey, this is a bearish trend. Hey, this is something to look out for. Hey, people are actually shorting and they're doing pretty well. And they're not telling you like everything's going to be the greatest thing of all time and everything's going to go to Valhalla and you're just going to love it. How many people sound like Ivan? Anyhow, I'll put that in the comments section. I just want to see what everybody says. But Ivan, before you get out of here, and again, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. There was a couple of things that actually went through your program. And I got to tell you, it was pretty good because it was like the basics of the basics. I'm not a very smart person. I need help, a lot of help. So when you put this in, I have to tell you, there was some pretty good stuff here. I made some notes. I'll probably do a video on like the base of it. But this is my favorite slide. You're not smart in the market. No, the coin isn't overvalued. No, the coin isn't undervalued. You don't know S. And that, I think, kicks it off to everything to where we should actually be looking at ourselves and going, am I doing the absolute right thing? Do I know everything? Should I do things a little bit better? I think this was the big thing. So when I went through, it was pretty easy. I like how everything's checked off. Kind of makes me go in line. But before we get out of here, walk us through this bull mania and your money line, because I'm getting to that point where I'm looking at this a little bit harder. And I will just be honest with you, my man. I'm not a trader. I'm just not. Yeah. So we're talking about longs and shorts. That's probably not up my alley. But I'm sure there's other people out here that it is. But I'm just looking for like, hey, if I get in here and I know when there's actually times to really take profit, all the different things we looked at before, this is going to help me. And it's just one more tool in my tool shed. So again, sorry to make that long, but walk us through this bull mania.
Yeah, so let me share my screen here and I'll walk you through everything. So as you can see, on each and every chart, I have this indicator, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. It's pretty simple. You can, and it's called the money line. You can use that one. It's a proprietary one that we have. Do you have to use, you can also use the moving average as well. But our money line is just more back tested. So it is better. Overall, it is better. But so on each and every chart you go, you can use, you can see that we have this bull bear, whether it's, Dogecoin, like any chart. But the question is, of course, how do I know all of the assets that are bullish or bearish. I cannot, spend hours clicking around every asset and see if it's bullish or bearish. So that's where the money scanner comes in. It shows all of the assets and whether they are bullish or bearish and how much they have dumped since they flipped. Also, it shows when things flipped. So let's say I only want to see assets that flipped in the last, let's say, 2 weeks. Then I can filter it here, and I can see, this Pippin flipped bullish a week ago, and it's up 70%, for example. This one flipped 1 week ago, up 83%. And of course, it's the most interesting thing is to see when, the new flips, what flipped in the last, let's say, 1 week. You see it's only this one. What flipped in the last 2 weeks. And it's working on the daily time frame. So now we're on the weekly. You can go to the daily. You can see what's flipping on the daily. Here you're going to see flips, way more flips in both directions, both up and down. So you can have different time frames. Also, one thing I preach a lot, both on my YouTube channel and in my community, is that we have to be so-called 360 investors, meaning that we cannot just be in crypto. Crypto is currently in a bear trend, so it's a very, very limiting factor if you are only trading crypto, because you look at stocks. That's why we also support stocks. You can also see what's happening to stocks, what flip bullish, bearish in the stock market. And we support, all kinds of exchanges. Let's see all the countries here. We support stocks on all the countries. Because it's showing this pop-up, but it's like all the countries. You can see like EU stocks. You click here, bam, now you only see stocks from the EU. You can see, let's say China. You see here only Chinese stocks. The same thing with commodities. So commodities has been very, very interesting for us because they've been 1+ year in a bull trend. When you look, for example, gold, silver, I believe now is in a bear trend. Let's see here. Exactly. So silver is now in a bear trend since 2 weeks ago. Platinum also in bear trend since 2 weeks ago. So the end-to-end use case here is that you have the indicator charts, so you can see individual charts, whether they're bull or bear. Then you have the money scanner, that we call it, which is this website that scans all the markets, all the stocks in the world, or all the commodities, and also all the ETFs. Many people don't know, but we also support ETFs. So you can see basically everything. All of the different asset classes, commodity, fixed income, currencies. And this is a fantastic way of trading because it is supported by research. What do I mean by that? When you look at the trend following strategies, let me open up here 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll open up here our book that I'm writing. That's also a bit of a news, but I'm writing a book here, and it's going to be about this methodology. But let me go to the trend. Let's see, research. Can I search here? Research. Century. Here. So I have here summarized in the book that I will release the research behind trend following, because you know that most people lose money in the markets. You have the stats, 97% of traders lose money in the market, but they're not traders. They're just, mom and pop or someone that doesn't know anything. They just open up Binance or open up some stock account and they get wrecked. If you look at trend following strategies and traders who follow trend following strategies, not trying to predict, but actually just joining new bull trends and exiting when the bear trend starts, or shorting when bear trend starts, that is proven by research to be consistently profitable. And I have a whole chapter on this, century of proof. The result trend following generate positive returns across virtually every period and every asset class. Not sometimes, not in ideal conditions, consistently across more than a century of data. So that's why this methodology really works. It's not something that works randomly or works only right now on the last 2 years in Bitcoin. It's over a century of proof. And then also, like you showed in your screen, in the course we go through everything when it comes to education, meaning that, okay, trend is bullish, but what do you do? Do you go all in? Well, probably not. Should you ladder in? How do you ladder in? So here is where, if we look at the course we have, it starts with explaining the basics, how to put in trades. You learn about risks. What is risk? How you define risk? How you do position sizing? How you do stop loss? What is ATR? Because you do stop loss based on it, and so on and so forth. And then we'll go through the mechanical rules, how to take profit, how to enter, and so on and so forth. But the core that everyone can take with them just by watching this YouTube video is trend following, guys. It is I would say it is the holy grail if you want to make money in any market. You want to be in an early bull trend, just like here in Bitcoin, for example, and you want to exit when it is bear trend. You don't want to overanalyze. You don't want to look too much on macro. Many people get wrecked with macro. Let me just touch on that before I end, because macro is correct. Like, liquidity is gonna pump the market. All of the people who follow macro, they are fully correct, and I see so many people of them get wrecked. They're correct, but not right now. That's the problem. You can be correct, but if your correctness is 6 months delayed, your altcoins go down 90%. That's sadly what has happened since October with most of the macro guys. Wrecked like never before, waiting for ISM, waiting for business cycle. The reason I really want to comment on it is not because, I want to attack the macro guys. I just see the wreckage that creates, because ever since October, since we went through Scott, the number one thing people told me, hey, Ivan, you don't understand business cycle. How can you be bearish? You don't understand the ISM and all of that. You don't understand that they're going to cut rates. And it's true. They're going to cut rates. It's actually, by the way, part of our strategy also. If you share my screen, Rob, the problem is cutting rates and easing of the financial of the financial conditions. It can take a year. We have it here. You see the heat map. We're now getting into lighter conditions, meaning that they decrease rates. The Fed is increasing the balance sheet and so on. So we do go from super bad now to a bit better, but it can still take a year to go into green. Here, for example, when we had the last pump in 2021, you see how green we were. This were the COVID times. So it was super green, super printing, and everything was fantastic, super low rate. But from yellow to green, it still took a year. And most altcoins from 2018 era, they got destroyed and they never came back. Even though macro eventually came back, but 6-8 months, it can be the difference, night and day difference. So over to you, Rob.
That is a lot to take in. But you know what? It's important that we all take a look at that, especially because when we talk about whatever's happening, liquidity, rate cuts, ISM, business cycle, everything that's going to go on, quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, and we keep hearing these words and we're like, okay, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm not going to embellish too much on this because I want people to take a look at your program, to sign up and everything else. But there is a term that you use in there. It's called jailbreak. I'm going to leave that with everybody, the jailbreak. And when you get your head around that, things make a hell of a lot more sense. So look, Ivan, I know your time is short. I want to keep too much of it. I know people, their time also is valuable. So everybody, there is a link in the description. Most of the things that Ivan just talked about are more expanded on in the program. I'd like you guys to take a look at this, but that's it for today. So,
and guys, so using the link below, you do get a fantastic discount. It's only for Rob's audience, no one else. So it's also time limited. So click it as soon as possible. And all in all, it is all about understanding the markets for what they are, not for the narrative. There's a lot of narrative all the time, but the problem is narrative is often false. People who give you the narrative, they don't have your best interest in mind. Some people have their crypto hedge fund, and then they tell you that it's going to go up. Of course, they want inflow. They cannot be bearish crypto. Or maybe they have a treasury company. There is a certain person that has been pumping ETH a lot with a treasury company and said that we're going to go to mega highs. Of course, it's not in your, it's in his interest that to have a bullish narrative, not in your interest. Cathy Wood, the same thing. Many people say Cathy Wood is bullish. Well, yeah, she has a fund. She needs inflow. Okay, and if your portfolio is down 90% in the meanwhile, obviously she does not care. So if you join the program, it's all about the transformation. It's like, escaping the matrix, having this the truth. You get goggles that you see, and you see the truth for what the market is and how it works. And of course, there will be time to be bullish. Like I told you, if you share my screen, Rob, we are actually now within buy zone. So it's not my brand to be always bearish. I mean, when it's bull trend and bull market, we're bullish. That's kind of the whole idea, to be bullish in a bull market and bearish in a bear market. It sounds simple, but most people get it wrong. So we are in the buy, very close to the buy zone. Can still go lower, and we're going to be utilizing this opportunity like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, hope to see you on the inside, and thanks a lot, Rob.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ivan. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who is listening. I love to add one more tool to my tool belt, so I appreciate it. Everybody, links in the description. We'll have Ivan on as time goes on, of course, but that's it for today. So like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. See you guys in the next one. That's it. Okay, so anyhow, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by and joining us. Ivan, I want to say, give a shout out to him for coming on the show yet again. I'll have him back on in a couple of months or so just to see how things are going. And it is interesting though, because we hear a lot about these narratives, the narratives that are coming, and then when something doesn't work out, they're like, oh, it's just this next thing that has to happen, and then it's next thing and the next thing. Before you know it, you're like, I'm all next thinged out. There's only so much I can do here. So I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole and see where it leads me. Anyhow, links in the description, you guys can check that out, but that is it for today. If you want to get into a little Q&A, we'll go through any questions that you may have and go from there. But that is it for that piece. Also, when you guys do click on that link, two things. First of all, there's more free information on the website, so check that out. And one of the things that I'm interested in doing, why I'm interested in doing this, is because I have an IRA account with iTRUST, and I've got a couple of like altcoins and even a couple of meme coins that I was going to write up and then sell and take some profits, and it just didn't happen. And I need to get a little bit more focused on that, because on my Roth IRA, there's no taxes on that. It's great when you have no taxes, but you have to have some gains. Now, in that account, the thing that's doing the best right now, of course, is Bitcoin and gold, and coincidentally enough, Pepe. Go figure. But I want to do that just to see where it leads me, and maybe you guys can come along for the ride. So anyhow, links in the description for both. Let me know what you think about. And let's go into a little Q&A and go from there. All right. Crypto Cash says, I think Ivan is the smartest of all YouTubers. He's definitely a bright guy, that's for sure. And he got some good information. And, I just kind of glanced over, skimmed over it, and not too bad. So I think we tend to say, okay, well, we have a plan of action, which is great. When the plan doesn't work, you have to take a step back and really just say, okay, what went wrong? Where was I incorrect? Where can I improve? Where can I move forward? That's the problem, I think, in a lot of different sectors. People don't want to improve. They're like, well, that was wrong. Let's keep banging my head against the wall until it works out. Me, I'm just trying to find the best place. Let's see. Ben Cowan, I've heard of him, and Crown seemed to nail it the best. Yeah, did pretty good. I think the bigger thing though is we knew to stay away from a lot of altcoins, even though I didn't. I bought up a little bit, but the big thing was Bitcoin. But the next big thing was, okay, we know to go into Bitcoin, but as far as like taking profits, we talk about it, but when's some optimal time to take those profits? That'd be it. Thank you. Ivan talks very quickly. Yes, he does. It's even tough for me to keep up and decipher what he's trying to say. And I think that's it. Thanks, Rob, for sharing. Yes, we try to do the best. Rob is the best YouTuber out there. I appreciate that, but I think that is a little overzealous, but I'll take it. Ben is disregarded by a lot of social media bulls to the detriment of their viewers. Well, it's true. I mean, if you go into an echo chamber and you go to that channel where it's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be awesome, just hang in there, and by next week we're good. I think it's not so much about that, because I think when the channels, some channels are always bullish, always bullish, always bullish. And it's true in the long run. If you've got like a very long horizon, which they talk about, it's on point. That is to be said. But I think when you're down 50%, you're like, is it that great right now? Probably not. Probably hurts a little bit. Now, me personally, we did a video yesterday. This is going to be my 4th cycle. It's worked out pretty well, quite honestly. And usually, these are the times, around these times, to buy. Now, some people will say, Rob, you shouldn't buy now. You should wait for the magical 200-week moving average, which seems like everybody's waiting for that. Also, a lot of people are waiting for the Pi cycle top and the POIL multiple, and the MVRVZ score, and in and out of profits, and name your indicator. A lot of people are waiting for those. Those didn't fire off. So maybe this 200-week moving average, maybe it does fire. Maybe it doesn't. But as we go lower, I tend to buy a little bit more. Let's see. It's hard. Ryan says, it's hard to sell exchange affiliate links when Ben is on here telling people we're going down till October. Historically speaking, that's been true. So we'll see. Now, there's another side of that that says, no. Q2, end of Q2 is when we're going to really take off. I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Let's see. My fourth also. Look at that. First 2 round tried, March 24, hit big. This time I'll fly. What's wrong with that? Soul Fader says echo, echo. I think when we first started the video, there was an echo. You shouldn't hear any echo right now. Oh, this time whole round trip. Sure. Ashley says, obviously a bear market, 264 viewers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the time. These bear markets are actually quite easy. So I don't have to deal with a bunch of tourists. It's actually quite fun. Just the people that's already been here like 2 times, 3 times, even 4, some even 5. And makes my job pretty easy, because if you're here right now when we just cut back 50%, I don't know what we're at now, 46, 45. You're probably going to be here through the long haul. So this is just the daily affirmation, getting things out there. That's easy. Plato, I'm a tourist. Plato's not a tourist. He's been here forever. Ryan says, how's your back these days, Rob? I don't hear mention it much anymore. Everything was good until Sunday, when I tried to lift up one of my steel gates, which I want to say is probably, I don't know, 300, 400 pounds. I've lifted before. This was one of our Airbnbs here in Puerto Rico. And yeah, I lifted it like twice before. Just on Sunday when I lifted it, just didn't really work out for me. So that's what happens when you try to do things a little bit too quickly. 264 smart people. That's pretty much on point, or at least stubborn people. I'm pretty sure about that. All right, everybody. So I think that's it for today. So look, it was a long one. There was a lot of information, but definitely check out that there's free training when you click on it. It gives you a little bit of a rundown of what Ivan's talking about. Then if you want to go to the next step, then you get 10% off. So that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one. Adios. Have a great rest of your day.